What's going on, everyone? How are you? What's going on, Don? What's going on, D? Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Don. See, are we on our countdown yet? Did you all play your Mega Millions? Did you all play your Powerball? We are we there yet? My hand been itching for 2 weeks. Oh, are the numbers out? Today's the 20th. No, that's okay. So tonight is Mega Millions. Let's see. I don't think the numbers are out. What's going on, Tara? No, they're not out. So when is the Mega Millions gonna be played again? What's tonight? The Mega Millions drawing results for in a 205 million dollar jackpot. Yeah. And what is the Powerball? 725? 750. 750. A lot of people say they don't play. I say playing with $20 is not gonna kill you. Well, for some, it might. It might. For some. For some. It might for some. What is what is his name? Oh, shout out to those that got their student loan relief from University of Phoenix. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. However, let's be messy up front. Cause, you know, it's been going around. And I feel like it's Foolish Finance Friday. And I too shall be messy. Well, I'm looking it up because I want to get the terms right. Let's get the terms right. Okay, nothing about the home life. I want the info. See, they don't have it here. D, can you find it for me? Let's talk about them. Okay, so who am I talking about? Like, who are you talking about? I was looking it up. Okay, I am talking about Anthony from Foolish. No, it's not Foolish, from Blackish and his divorce. Because everybody is upset about that divorce. Everybody's mad about that divorce. She's getting 20,000 a month in spousal support. Keeps the California home and the Texas home, and she gets 20% of the money that he makes over 2 million. Right? So everybody's upset about it. Why? 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 Does that lady not deserve her royalties? Has she not earned? He cheated on her. She stayed by him. She was there from the beginning. They got kids together. Everybody's like, oh, she should go get a job. Get a job? What's she gonna do? Okay, if you say go get she get a job, you still gotta pay. Spousal support until she gets the job, right? You still got to pay for that. People just didn't like it. Everybody was upset. They got two kids, 26 and 22. But it don't say it in here, D. But we know what the terms are. I'm sure there's other terms that did not get released. They were married for 22 years. She was with him before that. She was with him, prior to that. So I think she was with him for 27 years. I think she was with him since 1999. I'm like Tyrese. What more do you want from me? Like, what do you want? What is an appropriate number for someone who's been with somebody for 22 years plus? You cheated on her. She taking care of the house. What else do you want? Yeah. They exchanged their vows in 1999, so that means they were together before 1999. So what else? What else do you want? I'm just curious. What else does everyone want? Because everybody is like, it's just everybody is just like, oh my goodness. Is marriage is now like a retirement plan for women. Isn't it a retirement plan for men too? Don't a man and a woman come together? Is it not a retirement plan together? I'm just asking. I told D earlier, I said, it seems like from the comments that I read on a couple of posts online and so forth, it seems like this is to be confused, not everybody else's. This is a petty tea moment. It seemed like men just want to be rented out. You only rent me for your needs. You rent me for your when you need to go out on a date. Rent me when you need me to cut the grass. But we're not gonna get married. We just you could just rent me out. That's what it seems like. That's just me. Short. It seems like men want to be short term rentals. That's just what it seems like to me. I don't want to get married. However, I still need these things. Okay, so since I need these things, just rent me out. It's a rental, short term rental. You're right, short term rental. That's what it seemed like to me. That's what it seemed like to me. All right, so here's what they say in the divorce. All right, so 22 years of marriage, the 19th month separation in they've been separated for 19 months, having to pay more than $200,000 annually for alimony. Okay, that's reasonable. 200,000 is reasonable. D say they met in 1989. Yeah. Additionally, the paperwork reportedly states the actors' payments to Stewart could increase if the actor's gross income exceeds 2 million. In addition to alimony, the divorce documents outline a number of divorce couples' divorce agreements. While his ex-wife would take their Houston home, the Blackish star would keep the possession of a 2004 Land Rover, as Stewart would have a 2022 Mazda. Other undividable items, like the couple's burial plot in Inglewood, will be sold and the profits be split between the two. However, if the couple's first time filing for divorce It's not the couple's first time filing divorce. In 2015, Stewart filed for divorce, in which she stated the couple had been separated since April of 2014. At the time, the actor's wife cited irreconcilable differences as the cause of the divorce. Fast forward, 2017, filed a dismissal for her previous divorce petition. Boom, boom. Let's get down here. The sophomore year, freshman year, I knew a girl who lived in an apartment, blah, blah, blah. He said, okay, it says my sophomore year. Oh, D don't have it on the screen. Is my screen not added? Yeah, it's added. I'll switch it out. I got you. Right. Let me get this right here. It says my sophomore year, her freshman year, I knew a girl who lived in the apartment, so I went to knock on the door to invite her to this party, and me and my buddies were having. He said my wife answered the door, and I was like, I was coming to invite Stacy to this party we're having. Stacy didn't show up, but my wife did, and we've been together ever since that night. And I was just me. I got there early. She didn't see nobody else. She was all right. I'm gonna rock out with this dude. Said Anderson. Then discusses the couple meet. 10 years later. 10 years later. 10 years later. They dated for 10 years. The couple got married in 1999, and now they have two children together, 27 and 23. She's quiet. I'm loud. All right. She's quiet. I'm loud. She's okay with playing the background. Let me see. D got some more stuff here. I don't know what that is, D. The second one. Is that her thing? Is this her going to therapy, occupational therapy or something? Is that what it's supposed to be, D? Mm, I don't know. But yeah, that's where we're at. So the divorce is done. Oh, it's her master's. Oh, okay. Yep. So let's talk about some debt, right? I wanted to talk about debt because of this here. Let's go back. Let's start here and then go there. Americans owe a record of $1 trillion in credit card debt. 1 trillion in credit card debt. All right. And some of you are trying to figure out how to pay that off. What does that look like? We got all the strikes that's coming out, right? UAW, Kaiser is getting ready to go on strike. They're striking too. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another teacher strike, right? So now the question is, you have all this debt, right? And how are you going to pay this debt off? Well, drop in the chat. What's the number one way to get this debt paid off? In your opinion, this is your opinion. What's the number one way to get this debt paid off? Not the 1 trillion, but just in your own personal life. Number one way to me is increase your skills so you can get paid more. Right? Another one, naturally, Kimmy says budgeting. Right? What's another one? Find credit cards. If you're gonna do it, find credit cards that have a low APR. If you're gonna do it, right? Investing is another one. What's another way? right? It's another way, right? And so oftentimes when you have these credit cards, especially if you got these ones from Capital One, American Express, and so forth and so on, they like 28, 27, 30%. There's, consolidating. I go back and forth on consolidating. Like, I don't like consolidating. I like to pay them off because I've seen sometimes where some creditors will hold consolidation against you. So I kind of go back and forth on consolidating there, right? So now let's talk about it. So I pulled this up, the debt avalanche and the debt snowball. Debt avalanche and debt snowball. Let me blow that up. All right. So the debt avalanche and the debt snowball are two strategies to pay down debt. With the debt avalanche method, you pay off the highest interest debt first. And then the debt snowball method, you pay off the smallest debt first. Now, let's be clear. If you got the onesie twosies like $500 here, 1,000 here, maybe 2,000 here, go ahead and pay those off. Because those are quick wins, easy, possibly help with credit score, so forth. Then you got your big ones, your 10,000s, your 20,000s, your 30,000s. Those are your mammoths, right? And then there's some people out there that got, like, if you go listen to Dave Ramsey, there's some of them that's out there that got like 100,000 or $140,000 in credit card debt, right? So let's get into it. Each method requires you to list your debts and make minimum payments on all but one. So you pick one and you're gonna pay that one off. Like, it's like just a lump sum and pay it off, right? Then once the debt is paid off, you target another balance and so forth until you've paid down all the debts. Depending on your preferences and circumstances, you may prefer one method better once you understand the differences. Now, there's a spreadsheet for this, and too, right? There's a spreadsheet for this. See, good morning, D and Tam from Boston, Massachusetts, here with love. I love yours lives. Look forward to for them every Friday and Saturday. Thank you. Add Monday to your list because we got Monday night coming. Ooh, we're gonna be competing with Monday night football. Hmm. Hmm. How we Linux? How we make money with Linux? Money. Money making Linux. Hmm. MML. I had to think about it. All right. So some key takeaways from this article, and this is from Investopedia. Debt avalanche and snowball are both types of accelerated debt plan, repayment plans. The debt avalanche method involves making minimum payments on all the debt and using extra funds to pay off the debt with the highest interest rate. The debt snowball method involves making minimum payments on all the debt and then paying off the smallest debts before moving on to the bigger ones. Now, I will say this right here. On the bigger ones, if you can throw a little bit something on them, throw something on them. $5, $10, $20, whatever. Just throw something on them. Put something on them. The debt avalanche method can result in paying less interest over time. So here's how they look, right? It's pretty clear on the screen. So the debt avalanche prioritizes the interest rates. The interest rates. So the higher the interest rates, you probably want to start paying up. But like I say, I like the quick wins. If you got some quick wins, you can get them. Pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first. Now that may be hard because you may have one that may be at $10,000 at 28%, and you may have one at 8% or 5%, and it's only $500. I would just pay that off first. That's just me. I'll pay that off and let that ride. Oh, the last but not least, the other way to not use the other way to actually get out of debt is cut your credit cards up, or just don't take them with you when you go out. Or if you do go out, take the one that has the smallest APR on it. Take that with you. Leave the high ones at home. They got the highest APRs because you don't want to have to pay them over and over again, right? And then move to on to the next highest interest rate that after first is paid off, pay less interest over time. All right, the snowball prioritizes the balances, pay off the smallest debt first, move on to the bigger ones next, build motivation by settling debts faster, right? And then they go more into the debt avalanche, but I think you get the idea. And they give you an example here of what that looks like, right? But I wanted to talk about it because um, let's relate this back to tech. And here's how this relates back to tech here. Those quick wins on the skills that you can gain, those quick wins, like if you know that you can, it's a it's an easy win if you know you can go to Udemy, take a class, study something for 20 hours, maybe take an exam on it or something like that, or 40 hours and take an exam on it in a month. Those are quick wins, right? Now, why am I mentioning that? Because you may have debt and you're looking like, okay, well, how can I attack this debt? So you can attack the debt in two ways: get you some more skills, sacrifice some going out, sacrifice some eating out, and then move into getting more money, which means you're probably gonna have to interview, or you may know someone. And then once you get more money, and this is what I like to do, and this is a life hack, if you want to say, if you want to look at it like that. The reason why I like the sign-on bonus is because that's a quick way to pay off a credit card, right? So if someone has a sign-on bonus and they're saying, hey, we'll give you 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, you can put it into a brokerage account and let it earn, or CD and let it earn, and then get the money out later and then pay off debt, or you could take it and pay off the debt. Now, it's really on you. I prefer to get it and let it earn a little money, let it earn a little interest, and then come back because I know I'm getting more money, because I know I've obtained these skills. I can use the money that I get from the job to pay that debt down. And then as that money has grown, I can use that money to pay down more debt later on. I hope that made sense. Did that make sense to everybody? So I get more skills. I take my more skills. I get more money. I get a sign on bonus. I take the sign on bonus. I put it somewhere, let it grow. And then I take that money, that new income that I'm getting, because I'm getting more than I got the last time. I take that money and use to pay off my debt, right? But now that money that I got, because see, here's the thing. We're always like, man, I need to save. My goal is to get to 10,000, or my goal is to get to 20. But if you can get a sign-on bonus that's going to give you 15, 10, 15, 20, 30,000, you get 7,500 off of that 10,000. Put 3,500 with it, throw it over there, let it do its thing. Yeah, CDs it's not beating inflation. It's 5%. Yeah, it ain't doing much, but it's just doing something, right? Then the new money that you're getting, because you're gonna get some more money, you just use that to pay off the debt. But guess what? You got a big boost in your income because you received a sign-on bonus that you can come over here, and that sign-on bonus is over there making it's doing this thing, right? It's sitting in a CD doing this thing. It's sitting in an iBond doing this thing. It's sitting in a money market account doing this thing, right? And here's the other thing too. Once you get the sign-on bonus and it's over there doing this thing, it's nothing stopping you. Like, let me go over there and put $5. Let me go over there and put $10. Let me go ahead and automate. Every time I get my little money, I'm gonna drop $50 in there. I'm gonna drop $100 in there, and then by the time you look up, you've already started paying off your debt down. Now, by the time you look up, that 10 or 15 has grown. Say it grown by 2 or 3 thousand. Well, guess what? Don't go below the sign-on bonus money, right? Don't go below the sign-on bonus money. So, in other words, if you got 7,500 that you put in there because you got that sign-on bonus, throw a little extra money in it, put it in at 10,000. Put some money in there, you could put some little money in there, $50, $100, this, that, and other. By the end of the year or by the following year, it's grown and it's grown with some interest. So now you can say, okay, let me take 1,000 off of that, or let me take 1,500 off of that, pull it back out. Let me go over here and pay another credit card or pay a bill or something like that. But guess what? It's still at that level from when you first got the money. So now you come back again and you put a little bit more money in there. Just keep putting money in there, keep adding to it until you just eventually, after about 3, 4, 5 years, you got it paid down. But guess what you also have done? You stacked up in your 401k. You still maintain that liquid of 10,000, and on top of that, you've also paid off some debt and you increased your income. I hope that made sense. It's just a little hack, right? So you take the sign-on bonus and you make the sign-on bonus start working for you instead of taking the sign-on bonus and like, oh, I got to use that to move. Text Coach Raph, what's going on? Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. It may be a sticker. It may be a chat. I don't know, but we appreciate you. But this is how you can leverage your skills. Here's the things that you've leveraged. You leveraged your skills, you leveraged the sign-on bonus, you increased your income, and you also have worked the system to pay off your debt. Right? And if you were smart, you've been listening to Women in Linux, you also have a free way to increase your skills because you didn't take the job that doesn't offer you uh, a way to get skills outside of work. You have taken a job that says, hey, you can get skills outside of work, right? So that's how you can leverage your job, right? And leverage your skills and leverage that job to help you pay down your debt. Now, here's another little life hack, right? I'm not the one to gossip, so you ain't hear from me, right? Another hack, this is the hack that you all got to look out for, is finding those jobs that automatically, without you even rolling over a Tootsie Rolling or whatever, they automatically put in 25% into your 401k. They automatically put in 10% into your 401k. Now, why does that matter? That matters because regardless of what you do, they're going to always put 25% in. So if you make $100,000, they're going to put $25,000. And what does that do? As your pay increases, they're automatically going to increase as well too, right? So you may be getting paid $100,000 year one, but you're so dynamic you've been working, you got some certs, you showed out for that year, and they like, you really showed out, you really stepped up to the plate. We're gonna slap you with a $15,000 raise, or whatever the case may be, right? So now you may go from 100 to 115, but now it's 25% of the 115. So now it just automatically it's doing this thing. But what does that mean for you? Well, that means for you, if you decided that you wanted to go out and get a house, or you want to leverage that 401k, or you want to leverage that to do whatever it is that you need to do, the company has helped you and you have put into it. So in the end of a year, you can easily be at 30, 40,000, 50,000, whatever the case may be, right? So you got to think about these things as well too. So you want to leverage as much of the benefits as you can. 6% matches, okay. I'm not excited. 25 automatically, 10% automatically, 12% automatically into your 401k, 200% match. I'm excited. And I've showed y'all that. University of Boulder, Colorado, Boulder University. Oh, is that right? Colorado University? Whatever. In Boulder. They do an automatic 200% match. So you put in 100, they match in 2%, 200%. But that's on certain jobs. That's on certain jobs, not all the jobs. Most of the tech jobs, they do that, right? So consider leveraging it. It said it was at Boulder. Their IT jobs do a 200% match. Companies that give the 25%, 10% are companies like Zeta Systems, 63 Systems, which is now Company 32. Then there are some companies based on your age will give you based on your age. So let's say you're 55. Instead of a 6% match, they may do something like a 10% plus. And so that's kind of wonky, but Raytheon does that. They'll do something based on your age. It's not 5% or 6%. It may be 10% plus, and it's based on your age. Another company is Nucleus. They do 10% on that, and I can pull that up. And actually, he got some jobs, and so does Rampant Technologies. I'll go to Rampant because I think theirs is a little laid out. So let's go to Rampant and let's take a look at their stuff. All right, and let's go with employee benefits. And let's make this bigger. There we go. All right, so you get Rapid pays 100% of all premiums, including health insurance, dental and vision, long-term and short disability. Each full-time employee receives 31 days of time off, 20 days of PTO, 11 days of flex holidays. If unused time off, it may be cashed out at the end of the year. I can tell you exactly where they got this from. I know who the owners are. I know where they got this from. It's the same way we all work together. So and they modeled their benefits after that company. So uh, those that have been to the meetup, you already know what I'm talking about. So Rapid Technology contributes the maximum allowed by the IRS, 7,750 for families and 3,850 a year into your HSA for any out of pocket expenses, and then for your 401k, They contribute 10% of your salary automatically into your 401k. It's 100% vested immediately, and no contribution is required on the part of the employee. They automatically put in 10%. So if you make $250,000, they're gonna put in 10% of your 401k. I don't care what you do. Right? Flex time. Rapid Technologies, you have maximum flexibility to schedule that works for you. Additionally, you can bank any extra time work as flex time and cash unused flex time in the end. Continuing education, they put in $6,000 a year for your continuing education, and you also get company stock, and you also get bonus recognition. Again, a lot of people go for the bigger companies. I'm just telling you, I know a lot of small companies that do this. And so while y'all out there like, I'm going over here to get blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. I'm going to be over here getting the 25% and the 10% put into my 401k. What does that look like? Because everybody's like, I don't know what that looks like to me. We've never seen that before. You've never worked for a company like that. I know you lying. I know you ain't telling truth. There's no way. Okay. All right. So what does that look like? Let's go back. So here's what that looks like. So automatically they put in 10% into your 401k. We call this, and I've said this before, it's called an IBA, an individual benefits account. In your IBA, it could work a number of ways. In your individual benefits account comes your PTO, and not everybody sets their IBA up like this. Zeta doesn't do this. But anyway, your PTO, your insurance, all that stuff is set up in your IBA. So for example, I'm going to give you something that I did, that I could do. In my IBA, because I was single, for me, every month, I will earn 45 hours a month in PTO, right? Now, what does that look like? So I earn 45 hours a month in PTO. That 45 hours a month in my PTO, I have a number that I am paid, right? An hourly salary, an hourly number that I am paid, right? So let's just go with this. So let's do 45 hours times 93. So I may be at 41.85 for my 41 for my hours that month, right? So 4,085. So let's say I don't take off, but I don't take off 6 months out of my year. So let's do 45 times 6. And hold on. So you can see. Let's do 45 times 6. All right. So let's do 45 times 6. And then let's multiply that. Let's make it an even $100 an hour. So in 6 months, I may have $27,000 sitting in my IBA, right? And then for the year, we'll just multiply that by 2. If I don't never take nothing off, I may have $54,000 sitting in my IBA, right? Now, because, and I'll use this term in terms of like insurance terms, you don't want a MEC. You don't want to, it's not a SEP 401k. So it's just a regular 401k. So because they don't want to look like back to the government that there is that people are never taking off, or they're not utilizing. What they do is, for the profit sharing, they'll say, okay, you can keep 100 hours of this, but the rest, because of the fiscal year, we're going to pay you out that money, right? So keep the 54,000 in your head. So 100 hours times 100. So that's $10,000. So we'll go back 54,000 minus the 10,000, because you're going to keep that. It's 44,000. Now you take the 44,000, and depending on your tax bracket or where you're falling at, I'm in Florida, so I don't get no state. I'm multiply by that. So come the following year, I could get a cash lump sum of $30,000. Now, that $30,000 comes to me in a check, right? Two separate checks. That's what they do, right? I mean, one deposit, then boom, it's not one check, two separate checks. So remember now, my income increases every single year. So my IBA increases every single year, right? And what they put into it increases every year, right? So at one point, I was earning 13 weeks off. Some people else were earning 16 weeks. I think the max was 20 weeks off. The max. So you can imagine what that looks like over time, right? What that looks like over time. So I got this $30,000 check that I'm gonna get 1 year, and depending on if I don't ever take off. Now the question is, how many of y'all would take off? How many of y'all like, I'm gonna use all my PTO? I ain't never you and I ain't never I'm gonna always take off. How many of y'all taking off? How many of y'all taking off? Now here's the life hack. Here's the life hack for this, for you to take off. Let me school y'all on how you take off. How you take off is you front load your weeks, right? So you work 10 hours, 12 hours. So when you come that Friday or of week 1 or week 2, you can be off Thursday, Friday. You may come in on Saturday, work 4 or 5 hours, boom, 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 get up early, go to work from 6 to 10, be out of there, be back at home by 10 o'clock, do your thing, right? Work extra, work an hour extra every day. I'm just showing you how to front load. That's a front load. On the back end of that, you don't ever take any time off, because here's the kicker. Let's go back up here for those that weren't paying attention, because I don't think you were. Flex time. At Rampant Technologies, you have maximum flexibility to schedule that works for you. Additionally, you can bank any extra hours worked as flex time and cash unused flex time at the end of the year. So you can flex that extra time however you want to. You bank it. So you may use that flex time and be like, you know what? Put that in my reserves. I worked 90 hours. I'm gonna flex them 10, save them for the end of the year. I don't want to take off. Right? Right? What are you asking about? Non-elected contributions on behalf of the company. What are you looking at? I'm not seeing. Hold on. Let me just do a search. Yeah, I don't see none. I don't see non-elective contributions. It's only 3 matches, and these are 3. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Sam. Now, y'all think that's gravy, right? See, they not ready for the overseas gravy, are they? All right. D said y'all ain't ready. Because the overseas gravy is you get a 20% in bump in your pay and 20% bump in your IBA, which means you get more time off. And they put in 20% more into your IBA, individual benefits account. Right? So you talking about how you snowball and avalanche debt? These are ways that you snowball and avalanche debt and grow your 401k and get your money liquid because now you got 30,000 liquid. What you gonna do with your 30,000? You gonna go spend it? You gonna go buy a car? You gonna go buy a chain? You gonna get you gonna get a BBL? You gonna go get lip injections? You going to see Usher? You going overseas? Nah, you gonna go buy a house? Oh no. You tell me what you gonna do with your 30,000. Because guess what? You got 30,000 this year, you're gonna get more next year. What you gonna do? Fellas, are you gonna go get that nose hair trimmed? What you gonna do? You gonna get the new iPhone? You gonna get solar panels on your house? What you doing? Right? So I wanted to bring you that to talk about because we see 1 trillion in debt. You see the different ways to pay down the debt, especially when it comes to credit cards. Now you talk about how do I increase my skills? How do I get a job that's going to pay me for what it's worth, right? For the things that I know I'm worth, and on top of that, and help me uh get my help me get rid of my debt. Um, and like D said, I'm saying this. D didn't say this. Fellas, y'all gonna go get your legs. You gonna go get some stretch so you can grow. You gonna get your legs stretched so you can grow. Beard transplant, hair transplant. What's up? Yeah, what you doing? You ain't got to be 5'6" all your life. And guess what? You don't have to have kids. You can be like, why ain't get my daddy height? Kid come out like, why ain't get my daddy height? Because your daddy was originally short. Why am I here looking like Spud Webb? Why I'm only 5'8"? Why my daddy 6'2"? Mama, why you so short? Sir, I was taller than your daddy when I met him. Petty T. Petty T. All right, let's get on. All right. So I've never heard of this. Have anybody heard of this? Does Fidelity 45% rule still hold up? We'll talk about Prime tomorrow. All right, let's get into it. Blow us up a little bit. It says financial services giant Fidelity has a rule for retirement savings. You may have heard of have 10 times your annual salary saved for retirement by 67. 10 times. 10 times. 10 times. So let's get the calculator out. So let's say your annual salary is of 200,000 over the past. It's kind of hard to be 200,000 every year. It's usually like 200, 207, 215. It's kind of hard, but we're just gonna go with 200,000. If it's 200,000, they're saying by 67 you should have 10. You should have 2 million, right? 2 million by 67. Is that achievable? Is that achievable? Anything's possible, right? So let's go to our good old friends over here at investor.gov. Go here to our compound calculator. Let's take that $30,000 that you got, right? Because you got that $30,000, and let's say you work that job for 10 years. It's going to increase over time, but let's just go with a solid 30. Can we go with a solid 30? And let's say you don't never put nothing else in there. We know you will, but let's just go with that. And let's say you got let's say you got the 30,000 in an annuity. And let's say you put in, let's put in $1,800 a month. Right? I'm being nice. And let's say you're doing it over 67 years. So depending on what age you at, I'm gonna just do 25. And let's say you want to do, we can go anywhere from 7 to 10%. So what I do a 7%, and I do a variance of range below 3 annually. And let's calculate. We're just playing with some numbers, right? Again, you probably do more. You'll probably do more. But in 25 years, it could be 1.5. Now, I am only I gave a variance, right? I gave a range, right? It could go 3% above or 3% below. 3% above is 10%. So it could be 2.5. And below it could be like really bad, right? And be at like 979,000. But the middle one is your 1.5, right? That's what that middle is. Now, I was being kind of nice on this 1,800 because we could do more. We could do more, right? We could do more. We could bump this up 2,500 because I know you're not gonna take no time off, right? But you're gonna take time off because you're gonna front load your working hours, and you're gonna be like, you know what? Just put 2,500 in there for me, right? And it doesn't have to be. This is the other thing. There are different things you can do. You can do annuities, you can do different policies, you could do, you're gonna have to find a way. This is the other the other thing too with this here. You're gonna have to find a way to bring down your taxable income. So maxing out your 401k, maxing out your HSA, setting up an IRA, putting money up into buying houses, brokerage accounts, annuity. This is all W-2 stuff. I ain't talking 1099, I'm talking W-2, right? So let's say you did 2,500. And we're going to bump this up. Let's go now, let's do 9%, right? Because maybe we fall on the S&P 500. We'll still leave it at a 3% variance. Because you may get some good years out of that. Well, let's bring it down. Let's do 2%. Let's do a 1% variance because typically it's 10%. So you could be up here at 3.2 million. You could be at 2.7, or you could be at 2.3. So this seemed like a sweet spot here. At 30,000, $2,500 monthly, at 25%, running about 9%. Anywhere you got a variance here. You can run 8, you can run 9, or you can run 10. Right? You got a variance there. In 25 years, it could be at 2.8 million. Is that doable? How many of y'all got $30,000 right now and could put away 2,500? You got 35,000 right now. You could put away 2,500. So let's go back to the calculator. So let's do 2,500 times 12. That's 30,000. 2,500 times 12 is 30,000. So you put away 30,000. You ride that out for 10 years or 25 years. At some point, you probably slow down. You'll probably go from 30 to, you probably have some good and bad months. You'll do 30, you do 25,000, you'll do 15,000, this, that, and other. So again, I gave a range here because you could be up and down, and the market could be up and down. So you can be between 2.3 and 3.2. Now, what's the one thing I left out? What's the one thing that I left out? That's one account. That's one account. What's going on, Journey to Jasmine? That's one account. Your IRA is still sitting over there. Your 401k is still sitting there. This is just what you're doing with that $30,000. So you got your 401k you maxing, you got your HSA you maxing, you have an IRA you probably maxing out, and you got this account over here. And there's nothing stopping you from each one of them accounts. Maybe not the HSA from being $1 million. But let's look at the HSA. So on the HSA side, you start off with, let's say you max out the first year, start out with 3,850. I think it's 545. Is it 521 or 321? I think it's 321. That's the max. You run that for 5 years. It usually don't really return a lot. I don't think HSA is returning 9%. They may be returning a solid 5. They may be returning a solid 5. For 25 years, that may, that's what you got sitting over there. But remember, depending on when you invest in this, that's still 200,000 sitting there that can be used for your medical expenses. And once you get 70, once you get 70 or 70 and a half, it can be used for anything. But don't quote me on the 70 and a half. I think it is, though. It could be used for anything, right? But remember, this increases every year. So that means this increases every year. So I didn't include the increase of that for every year, right? You can invest in your HSA, correct? I didn't even include that. I'm just saying just regular money going into it. So this money could be more than this. It could be double this, right? It could be more than it, right? So you got your HSA, you got your 401k, you got your, and it could be a Roth 401k. You have your HSA, your Roth 401k, your HSA, Roth 401k. Oh, and out of this is your IBA. And then you can have something else on the side. Maybe you do a annuity. Maybe you do a brokerage account. Maybe you just take $30,000 because you want to be liquid at all times. You just throw it in a brokerage account, and you just got that. You build out your emergency fund, and your emergency fund may be in a money market account. So you just got your money just pushing and working, pushing and working. I don't know how long Toyotas and Mazdas last, but you'll probably find your forever car and just ride it till it get two, three, 400, 500,000 miles. They're like, I'm gonna replace the engine in this, you know. But then you got enough money that you could go buy a car at that point, right? Let's see. Oh my goodness, yes, I would take a lot of work, especially if you're creeping up to that age. Solid 30, yes, Miss Tam. All right, cool. All right. Yeah, Evelyn, you could do I bonds. I'm just pointing out just some basic stuff. You could do I bonds. You could do T bills. Right? You could do T bills. I need to review that lady with the T bills. All right. But I just wanted to show you that. All right. So back to what they were saying. They saying have 10 times your annual salary saved up for retirement. This often cited guideline can help you identify a retirement savings goal and so forth. Enter the Fidelity's 45% rule, which states that your retirement savings should generate 45% of pre-tax, pre-retirement income each year, with Social Security benefits covering the rest of your spending needs. Now, they're predicting that Social Security is not going to be available. I don't know. I doubt if that happens, and I'm gonna tell you why I doubt if that happens. Because there's a lot of people that depend on Social Security more than we care to admit. Not just the veterans, but the children and a lot of immigrants depend on Social Security. So if that ain't popping off, because some people that's all they got, you might be in some trouble, right? Can you imagine getting robbed by somebody granddad and their grandmama? Can you imagine? You pulling up the Wendy's and they coming through the drive through talking about hand it over toots. Right. All right. Yeah. As a result, a retiree who's earning $100,000 a year would need between 55,000 to 80,000 per year in Social Security benefits and saving withdrawals, including pension benefits, to continue their lifestyle. Fidelity's 45% guideline dictates that a retiree's nest egg should be large enough to replace 45% of their pre-retirement pre-tax income each year. Following this rule, the same retiree who's earning $100,000 per year would need enough saved up to spend $45,000 a year in addition to his or her Social Security benefits to fund his lifestyle. Assuming the person lives another 25 years after reaching retirement, this person would need 1.125 million in savings. If you're ready to be matched with an advisor, blah 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 blah. Right? But I wanted to give y'all that so you could get the visual of why I'm pushing you to the 200,000, the 300,000, the 400,000, 500,000. It's not because of, oh my goodness, I just want you making money, but I want you to be able to be comfortable in retirement and retire when you want to. Some of you might retire at 50, some of you might retire at 75, some of you may not ever retire. And whatever it is you got, it's just whatever it is, right? Now, according to Fidelity, a person who makes 50,000 a year, 50,000 per year would need savings and Social Security to replace 80% of his income in retirement. It should be his and her. An individual earning 200,000, however, could get by with just retirement by replacing just 60% of their income. Right? So here's the rule. All right, replacing income using Fidelity's 45% rule per retirement income replacement rate from savings replacement rate from Social Security total replacement rate is 50,000 is 45%, I guess 45%, 35%, 80%, and then 100,000. And I'm not sure about this, how they're breaking this down. Hold on. 100,000, 45%, 27%, 72%, and then 200,000, 45%, 16%, 61%. And I'll go back and reread this, and 300,000, 44%, 11%, and 55%. So their rule looks like 44%. Okay, here it is. The using Fidelity's rule pre-retirement, and what they should have gave was a comma. Pre-retirement income replacement rate from savings replacement rate, and then from Social Security. So the first one is the pre-retirement income replacement rate. So that would, for this 50,000, would be 45%. And then from the savings replacement rate, from the savings replacement rate, it is 35%. And then from Social Security replacement rate is 80%. They should have gave some commas there, right? And they're breaking that down. So if you want pre-retirement replacement rate at 200,000, it's 45%. If you're doing a savings replacement rate, it's 16%, and then Social Security is 61%. And you can go through and sit down and calculate this out. I'm gonna give this to you all so you can look at it. So you can just play with some numbers for yourself and get an idea. I gave it to you, D. Now, according to Fidelity, a retiree who made $50,000 per year would receive 35% of that income via Social Security. So we got 50,000. So here they go right here. Savings income from Social Security total replacement rate. So that's what they're talking about here. 35% of that Social Security. But a higher earning individual at 300,000 per year will only see 11% of his income replaced by Social Security. So basically they're saying when you get to a Social Security age, only 11% of your income is going to be replaced by Social Security, right? So what's that? Roughly about 31,000. 10% is 30,000. About 31,000. Well, yeah, 31,000 somewhere in there. All right. While higher earning individuals don't need to replace as much of their pre-retirement income, retirement savings play a role important there, right? So they go on to talk about this a little bit more, but I just gave you the link there. There's 464 comments on this right here. And you can take a look at those comments, right? So with that being said, there are some new rules that came out earlier about 401ks and so forth. So some things are going to change. And this was from the Secure Act, but some things are going into place come next year. Some things are changing, right? With the new catch-up provision scheduled to kick in after 2023. This is why everybody keeps talking about it, because there's some new changes coming in 2024, right? All right. Tax law, and I'm sorry, I just gotta accept that. Tax law allows taxpayers age 50 or older. Oops, that was too big. I don't know where it went now. There you go. Now it's too small. All right. That's about as big as I can get. D, can you take the like and subscribe down for me, please? Thank you. It's about as big as I can get it there. All right. So tax law allows taxpayers age 50 and older to make catch-up contributions to their 401k plans and similar retirement accounts. The permissible amount is adjusted annually for inflation. So for 2023, you can contribute an additional 7,500 over the current 22,500 annual 401k contribution, right? Under the existing rule, all eligible taxpayers can choose whether to make their contributions on a pre-tax basis or a Roth basis. Now, I do know, I saw this, that going forward, and this is a common problem, the new rules state that the day one that you start a job, you will be enrolled into a Roth 401k day one versus a 30-day trial period, a 90-day trial. Day one, you in it, right? Section 603 Secure 2.0, however, mandates that any catch-up contributions made by higher income participants in a 401k, 403, or 457 retirement plans must be designated as after-tax Roth contributions. So they're going in as Roth contributions versus into the 401k. They're going in as Roth contributions. So instead of going into the 401k, into the traditional side, they're going straight into the Roth. And it says higher income participants are those whose prior Social Security wages exceeded 145,000, right? In addition, a plan that allows higher income participants to make such catch-up contributions also must allow other participants age 50 and older to make their catch-up contributions on an after Roth tax basis. The law provides that these requirements are effective for tax years beginning after the 31st of 2023. So read the fine print of your 401k. Talk to your HR rep now before December comes and January comes, so you know how to devise your plan. You need to do that now, because when come next year, there are going to be some changes and you need to be aware of those. And because you have a plan with, say, ADP, Vanguard, or whatever the case may be, schedule an appointment with one of the reps so you know what's changing and what you can benefit from. Don't wait for HR to do it. You be proactive and do it. All right. The imminent effective date and plan sponsors and payroll providers were due to multiple administrative hurdles. For example, sponsors must develop processes to identify higher income plan participants. They generally haven't needed to calculate employee Social Security wages previously and provide that information to their plan administrators, right? The changes are even greater for employers that don't already have Roth contributions features in their traditional retirement plans. They have to choose between amending their plans to allow such contributions, which can take months to process and implement, or eliminating the ability to make catch-up plans for all employees. So y'all need to find that out, right? Now, also says in Notice 2023-62, the IRS acknowledges that the concerns related to the original effective date for the new requirements. In response, it has created an administrative transition extending the date to January 1st of 2026. So they gave them some time. So you need to find out if your contributions and your 401 plans have changed. And if I don't think they can, don't quote me, I think they have to go Roth or they may grandfather them in, but I think your 401ks now have to be Roth, right? After tax versus pre-tax. Your pre-tax is real simple. Is your 401k. Your after tax is your IRA. That's really that simple. And I should cover this a little bit more, but I'll wait for tomorrow because I want to go over this video that I have, and I think you guys would enjoy that video a little bit more, right? Let me look here. Okay. No, Roth contributions are currently subject to annual required RMDs like traditional 401ks, but beginning in 2024, through the designation, Roth 401k contributions won't be subject to RMDs until the death of the owner. So before you had to take out RMDs, but now they're saying you don't. But that's only on the Roth 401k, which I think they're making most people do Roth 401k as they establish their companies, right? And there are more. This is just a little simple one, but there's way more stuff that got changed in your 401ks and your IRAs and so forth, right? How does day one Roth contributions work with OE? Again, like I said before, Evelyn, if you got two jobs and they both got 401ks, you have to take the 22.5 and distribute it evenly across those 401ks, or who's ever doing the better match. But you can't max out. You can't put 22.5 over here and 22.5 over here. It's got to be with both of them. With both of them. And then remember, whatever you put in on that Roth side is also part of that 22.5. Right? Prenups. We want renups. All right, prenup should be a part of every marriage, not just among celebrities and the wealthy and financial experts say. This came out September the 10th of 2023. I'm pro trust versus pro prenup. I'm probably trust over prenup. However, don't commingle those assets. Don't commingle. Jingle, jingle, jingle. Right? Prenups can be controversial, and many people think they're only for rich and famous. Financial experts, however, say that that's not the case, and couples should consider them. So let's talk about prenups and 401ks. Prenups and 401ks. Two parties come together. You've established that 401k prior to marriage. You have 500,000 in that 401k prior to marriage. He or she may have 150 in that 401k prior to marriage. You both go to work. You contribute to your 401k. She goes to work or he goes to work. She contributes to her 401k. One day, you decide that you don't like each other no more and you would like to get a divorce. Well, the money in that 401k, the gains that it has earned over that marriage, over that time of that marriage, is a marital asset. So you may be over here at 5, they may be over here at 150. That's a marital asset. The gains are a marital asset. The gains over here are a marital asset. Person number over here could be like, Annie up. Or they could be like, don't touch it. So now the question is, in your prenup, are you going to put that inside your prenup that whatever my gains are my gains, this, that, another? Now, here's another thing. Because you're married, you're able to make more contributions, right? You're able to make more contributions because you're married. Another thing that also happens that don't get talked about with your prenup is you have a house prior to you all getting married. And that house is over here chilling, Airbnb it out, whatever the case may be. It may be a hotel or whatever the case may be. Whatever, however you got that set up. VRBO or whatever. Is it VRBO or VBRO? I think it's VRBO. Right? But it's prior to your marriage. It wasn't in the trust. It was just a house you had. and you getting some rental income off of it. But because y'all love each other so much, and you're like, you're the love of my life, I'm never gonna. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. Right? You know, you're like, babe, I gotta go over to the house. There was a leak, this, that, and another. And babe is like, oh, okay, let's go check the leak out. Because that's what babes do, right? You go check the leak out, and you may be short a little money. So babe chips in to get the leak fixed. What you have just done is commingled that asset with babe. Now babe is like, we about to get my divorce. And babe is like, I was doing repairs over there on that house. I've been working over there on that house. I put some money into that house. I'm gonna need for you to sell that and the proceeds get split. Because that's now you've made it a marital asset. So now the question is, what do you put in the prenup? What goes into a trust? How do you make sure you don't commingle? These are questions that you all got to sit there and ask. And guess what? Your IRA, your 401k, all of that. And so now everybody is like, well, just don't get married. Uh, uh, uh. Yeah. Y'all been living together for 20 years. You never looked at the law, your common law, community property. You've gotten you you have gotten mail at this address. It's gonna work the same way, bro. It's gonna work the same way, homie. And kidnap that fool. Babe had a heart attack and you fixed something for the tenant. Then babe side chick should showed up at the hospital. Yep. Hey babe, I'm going by the house. Okay, we're gonna check the repairs. Oh, okay. Yeah. Not so fast. With the marriage, y'all better be thinking about community property. You better be thinking about common law. So you're like, I ain't gonna get married. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. All right. So let's get into it. They said prenups can be like insurance or financial safety net. All right. There are a lot of I guess preconceptions and prenuptial agreements. People think they could mean that you don't think you'll stay married, indicate suspicion or distrust, or that they're only useful if you have assets to protect. Well, if you know, like I know, if you are getting married, I mean, if you're getting a divorce and you're starting a new job, but you all are still married, and you go out and purchase a house, even though y'all separated, and but you're still married, guess what that is? A marital asset. That bonus that you get at the job, it's a marital asset. Why you think Gigi was like, let me file for this murderers? He know it's some money coming down the pipe. He was like, she can't get all the asset. Now she may get a little something. He's like, but she can't get it all. Yeah, yeah. Listen, keep it under your mama name if you want to. Some of y'all mama shady. Some of y'all mamas boo nasty. Some of y'all mama would take what you got and give it to your younger siblings. Some of your mamas will cash that stuff, that them assets in. Y'all be thinking y'all can trust I'm back. I know we lost us. Mamas do steal. Donna, you said yours stole. Soon as I say something about Jeezy, nah, it was my laptop. Yeah, you told me about your mom stole your whole check. Prenups. All right, let's go. Come on, don't fail me now. All right, there we go. So there we go. Yeah. All right. Preconceptions. South Carolina told NPR prenups are financial safety nets, not harbingers of separation. We're not preconceiving that a divorce is going to occur. We're discussing important financial issues that come up in every marriage. Now, the question is, do you know what you can put into a prenup? Vera added prenup agreements can give a couple the opportunity to discuss long-term financial goals like owning a business, retirement age, and shared bank accounts. Do not share bank accounts before you get married. Do not put somebody's name on your bank account before y'all get married. I repeat, I don't care how much you love each other. Do not go in and put your name on put his name on your bank account and her name on your bank account. Do not do that. Why? Commingling. Commingling. That means whatever going into their account is on the table. Right? Prenup agreements are taking care of your future spouse. Considering a prenup is like telling your fiance, I love you today, and I don't know who I'm going to be in 10 years from now. Right? So this one here. I get too many emails from telling older women and men telling me that they've just lost everything because of the divorce. Orban said, despite the initial awkwardness, a prenup can actually make your relationship stronger. If you cannot if you cannot talk money to a person that you are about to marry, you're doomed for failure because money is going to run through your relationship more than anything else. Prenups can protect you from being responsible for your spouse's debt. How many of y'all have ever met someone and you didn't know how much debt they had? But now y'all get me, and it's all on Dave Ramsey show all the time. I won't marry her because she's got $100,000 in debt from student loans. I won't marry him because he's got business debt of $100,000. Right? A Harris poll, a global consulting market research firm, found in 2022 about 15% of married or engaged Americans have signed a prenup. Historically, numbers have been much lower. In 2010, only 3% of Americans had signed, according to another study, right? So let's get into it. Maybe I'll say that one for tomorrow because it's kind of detailed. We'll say that one. I'll save it. I'll say that one. We'll say that one for tomorrow. Now, this I thought was interesting. We getting ready to go into Foolish Finance Friday, the petty side of Foolish Finance. Would you work for a millionaire hedge fund so they can call you at 1 o'clock a.m.? What money would it take for you to allow the CEO to call you at 1 o'clock? It says the millionaire hedge fund CEO says he mainly hires people with no background in finance and once hiked a worker's pay so he could call him at 1 a.m. A hedge fund boss said he mainly hires people with no background in finance. Peter Brown said he once offered a worker a pay raise in the early morning hours. Brown discussed his unusual hiring and retention strategies on Goldman Sachs podcast. Right? The CEO of investment management firm Renaissance Technologies, go look up Renaissance Technologies, has said that when it came to hiring, he almost exclusively employed people with no background in finance. Peter Brown was speaking on an episode of podcast Exchanges at Goldman Sachs. He said he found it easier to teach mathematicians about markets than it was to teach mathematics and programming to people who know about markets. The New York-based company tended to avoid hiring people who had been at other finance firms. When it came to applicants, Brown said he looked for math and programming ability, as well as strong work ethic and desire to work at a collegial environment. The finance industry is still a huge draw for young graduates. This is particularly true for Gen Zers who are more inclined to work in the finance industry than previous years, right? During the podcast, Browns also said he gave an employee a pay raise so he could call him in the early morning hours. Brown said he was working late at night with a colleague whom he named only by first name and needed an answer from another employee. He said it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I picked up the phone to call him. And Jim says to me, "Wait, you still can't call this guy in the middle of the night. He doesn't make enough money." So I said, "Fine. How about this? I'll call him. I'll tell him we're going to get him a raise, and then I'll ask him the question." And so that's what we did, he said. Brown added that he often contacted employees late at night and sometimes slept in the office. I'm one of those type who can't sleep. Not by choice, he said. I am often on the computer around 2 a.m. And it's true. I tend to send a lot of emails in the middle of the night. The most recent Forbes data Brown was compiled in 2019, found that he had a net worth of 100 million. Renaissance Technologies is one of the world's most successful hedge funds. Its founder is Jim Simmons. His net worth is $30.7 billion. So y'all gonna go look up Renaissance Technologies? Simmons still plays a role at Renaissance, although he retired in 2010. Representatives for Brown did not immediately respond to insiders' requests for comment made outside normal business hours. Right? Coach Ralph says a CTO called me at 2 a.m. with his lawyer on the line when the company was battling a lawsuit. I'm not surprised. All right. Do y'all know who the richest woman in the world is? She's not from Babylon. Do you know who the richest woman in the world is? Okay, let's go. Meet Francoise Bencourt Myers, the world's richest woman who's worth 87 billion. She's worth 87 billion. Do you know who she is? Francoise Bencourt Myers inherited 1/3 stake in L'Oreal from her mother. She has a fraught relationship with her mother, even filing a criminal complaint against her. She has an estimated net worth of $87 billion, making her the richest woman in the world. Francoise Bencourt Myers, the 70-year-old granddaughter of L'Oreal founder Eugene Schuler, is the richest woman in the world according to Bloomberg Billionaire Index. Bencourt Myers is worth 88 billion, mostly due to her stake in L'Oreal. She's in the 13th position on Bloomberg's list and has become 16 billion off better this year. She earned 16 billion this year. Here's a look at her life and her wealth. She was a Schuler, a pharmacist, founded the company that was to become L'Oreal in 1909. His daughter, Bencourt Myers' mother, Lillian, inherited Schuler's fortune and control of the company upon his death in 1957, along with her husband, Andre Bencourt, a French politician. And Bencourts were well known in France for their glamorous parties, but Bencourt Myers was less interested in the social lifestyle of her parents, preferring to stay in and play piano, according to Vanity Fair. She had a fraught relationship with her mother. The mother and daughter relationship was strained since Bencourt Myers was a teenager. Francoise was heavy and slow, Bencourt once said. Bencourt also called Francoise a cold child in an interview. As an adult, Bencourt Myers chose to focus her career as an author. The heiress has written books ranging from Greek mythology to Judaism and Catholicism. Her recent book, the biblical commentary entitled Regards sur le Bible, was published in 2008. Bencourt also sits on L'Oreal's board and chairs the family's holding. Bencourt has 33% stake in L'Oreal and is a board member. Her relationship with her mother came to a tipping point when Bencourt Myers initiated a decade-long family feud over her inheritance. In a lawsuit, she alleged that Francoise Meyer Boehner used her friendship with Lillian Bencourt to manipulate the elderly heiress into giving him $1.3 billion in euros, which is $1.4 billion in cash, and art and life insurance policies. Bencourt, who was diagnosed with dementia, disputed her daughter's assertion, said she freely shared her assets with Boehner. Sir, here you go, 1.4 billion. You want some art? Here you go. You want a little something? Here you go. $1.4 billion in cash. In 2008, Bencourt described their relationship to him, writing, "With you, I am like a mother, a lover. All feelings pass through me. It makes me tremble." Bencourt told French magazine in 2009, "The objective is clear: break away from my mother, from our family, to profit from her. I will not let it happen." In 2015, they was convicted of abuse of weakness. I don't know what abuse of weakness is. He was convicted to 2.5 years in prison and told to pay Bencourt $158 million in euros. The jail sentence and payment was later reversed in an appeal. The pair weren't speaking after terms. Can you imagine being billionaires and you ain't speaking to your mom? "I don't see my daughter anymore. I do not wish to," Bencourt said in a 2008 Vanity Fair. "For me, my daughter has become something inert." A lawyer involved in a case with Vanity Fair, the mother massacred the daughter. Then the daughter massacred the mother. In 2011, Bencourt was placed under the guardianship of her family due to concerns of declining mental health. The lawsuit has dredged up long forgotten family secrets, including speculation that Bencourt Myers' father, Andre, and her grandfather were Nazi sympathizers. Bencourt's grandfather, Eugene Schuler, had publicly commended Adolf Hitler's Dynasm in the early years of the Nazi Germany, so forth, secret society, blah blah blah. Even though she was born even though she was on the winning side of the lawsuit, Bencourt Myers later investigated for allegations of bribing a witness. Oh, I'm sure she dropped some money. 2017, Myers inherited tens of billions of dollars when her mother died in 2017, and the valuable assets like this mansion in the suburbs of Paris. The house is located in, I'm going to mess this up, Neuilly-sur-Seine, a wealthy suburb of Paris, the power suburb, a place not only of the wealth but influence. According to the Independent, it's the home to actors like Christian Cavalier. I'm going to mess up Terry's name, Gerard, and politician Marine Le Pen. Le Pen. And the mansion is overlooking France's Brittany's coast. Boom. The mansion was one of Betancourt's childhood homes. The Betancourts lived in this nearby home. The French searched this home in 2010 as part of the investigation surrounding Betancourt's affair. At the time, Betancourt lived there with her husband, John Pierre Myers. I wonder if that Myers is part of the grocery chains. Myers grocery chains. Fred Myers. See, John Victor Myers, Nicholas Myers, Francois Betancourt Myers, and her husband, John Pierre Myers, in 2019. Just money. In the years since the controversy involving Fender Betancourt's fortune has grown exponentially. She's the 13th richest person. L'Oreal shares were up 29% in the first half of 2023. The company owns a mass market brand such as Maybelline, Essie, Garnier, and of course L'Oreal, as well as high-end beauty companies like Urban Decay, Lancome, and Kiehl's. L'Oreal also licenses the beauty divisions of luxury fashion houses such as YSL and Valentino. They got money. They got money. But of course, Myers isn't only the French billionaire on the rich list. Of course, we got Mr. Bernard Arnault. The overall wealth of the French founders and the heirs jumped 93 billion in 2023. Ladies, you want a French billionaire? You need to go find some heirs, some grandsons, some distant cousins. That's what you want. All right. Let's go here. All right. I sacrificed my career. My husband and I may divorce soon, but he will inherit $1 million. How do I make sure I get half? How do I make sure I get half? Does the wife deserve half? Let's go. Dear Quentin, I have been married for 8 years. My husband and I have had our ups and downs as married couples. We got married young. He was 26 and I was 25, which was probably not the best idea, as we had already known each other for about a year and a half. We both changed, not always for the better, and we're now different people. We have one child. I have sacrificed my career and I have shouldered most of the responsibility of our child, working part-time for a while. He plays golf. I stay at home. He gets promotions. I take our child to birthday parties and after-school activities. We're used to being in an unhappy marriage that it has become our way of life, our normal. We talked about the future. We talked about the fact that we may have a future separately. And I have probably thought a lot about divorce. If I'm honest, I have not been happy for more than half of the time we've been together. Having a child 2 years ago, 2 years after we got married, merely put us in a holding pattern. His only remaining parent is ill is in ill health, and when his father eventually passes, he will inherit $1 million or more. I feel like I've given so much. Do I hang in there until he inherits this money? Don't I deserve some of this inheritance at least? I would like to start again with some kind of security. If we remain married, would this inheritance be his and his alone? Is there a way to make sure that this does not happen? I know this makes me sound like a gold digger, but I'm not. I just want to walk away from this marriage with enough money to start over again. What does that mean? Is that 5,000? Is that 20,000? Is that just we just gonna leave you with this house? What does that mean? Especially given the backseat of my career was taken to allow me to take care of the child while he has gone from strength to strength, ready for a new life in Arizona. What do y'all think? Should she get some money? It ain't in the prenup. I don't know if is an inheritance considered a marital asset before the billions was going on. Dear Reddy, you deserve 100% happiness and 50% of community property. That's the money you both earned and the property you acquired throughout your marriage, which includes your home. Let's also hope your child remains 100% healthy and happy. It will be hard to start again. Divorce is devastating. It will cut your finances in half, and make your financial life more challenging. You will have to find a place to live, assuming you don't stay in the family home. You'll share custody, which will involve at least some single parenting while you work. Your husband should, if you are still married at the time of his inheritance, seek legal counsel, especially if your marriage is coming to an end. That's not something you are likely to advise him to do, and I don't blame you for that. There's no blame here, only feelings of resentment, regret about roads not taken, and sense of unfairness that after time you put into childbearing at the expense of your career, your husband will walk away with a career, and you might have had an extra 1 million to boot. If your husband wished to keep his inheritance separate, assuming he was not expecting an imminent divorce, he could and should put it in a separate bank account, or even better, a living trust, to protect it from being co-mingled with marital assets. No co-mingling. Co-mingling. Right? I'm going to read that again. He could and should put it in a separate bank account or even a living trust to prevent it from being commingled in your marital assets. The legal process of commingling, known as transmutation, would be good for you but bad for him. If he used a portion of that $1 million to upgrade your home or pay for joint expenses, or even deposited in a joint bank account, it will likely become commingled. I'll read that again for those in the back. Don't hear when I be talking about commingling. This is what I'm talking about, your inheritance and commingling. What is the cocoa? I don't know what the cocoa is. All right. It says the legal process of commingling, known as transmutation, would be good for you, but bad for him if he used a portion of that million to upgrade your home, or to pay for joint expenses, or even deposited it in a joint bank account. It would likely become commingled. Oh, you're saying cocoa, the cocoa. You're trying to say the co-mingling. Oh, that's what you say. See, I don't know. Do you be making up stuff and I don't be understanding. It might make sense for you to stay married until you hit the 10-year mark. If you are of age 62 or older and were married to your ex for 10 years, you may be able to collect monthly payments equivalent to one third to one half of your former spouse's Social Security benefit at 62, according to AARP. Divorced people can receive survivor benefits of 71.5% to 100% of the late former spouse's benefit, depending on the age when you claim. But those rules can only apply if you don't remarry. You have to make a choice. You can stay married in hopes that your husband inherits a million and buy hook or crook, and she need to stay married. She need to ride that out for another 2 years so she can get some Social Security. And she ain't got no money. She said she ain't got no money, so she need to write it out, right? Hooker crook commingles it in your marital funds if he inherits the million and by hooker crook commingles in your marital fund. But this choice is not entirely advisable. His father may live another 10 years. Let's hope he does and also has a good quality life. Women continue to make more sacrifices in marriage to take care of children, something that's supported by a lot of data, but I urge you to own the choices you have made up to this point too. Commingling. All right. Last one. I'm 64, disabled, lost everything in my divorce, and only earned 28,000. How do I avoid financial ruin? He could put that 2 million in life insurance on his wife in the IUL, but I think she has to know about it at that point because I think she would have to sign off, and they will have to take a blood sample of her. I don't think he could just blindly do that. I have limited mobility and can't sit up or stand for long periods of time. I was involved in a workplace accident that rendered me disabled and recently received a lump sum of $185,000 after deductions for lawyer fees, etc. In 2011, when I was injured, I was facing foreclosure and couldn't take care of our minor children. So life for me fell apart. In 2018, I began collecting Social Security disability insurance. During our divorce, Jim filed several motions for support of our two children. Having no money to hire a lawyer to defend myself, I answered one motion and let everything go. I was recovering I was recovering from a major spinal surgery, and couldn't handle the stress. I was awarded 17,000 in tuition by the judge in 2014. Jim has earned 140,000 a year for the past 10 years. I have earnings of 28,000 per year plus 2 hour a day job I took for extra money. I have limited mobility and I can't stand up for a long period. In 2017, my lawyer lost a case fighting for a change of circumstances. Jim took me to court and won a settlement against me for $78,000. I'm facing a bill of $107,000 for care that Medicare won't cover, expenses like hiring an aide, possibly future legal bills if the provider refuses to approve care, plus upkeep of the house that needs $20,000 to $30,000 in maintenance because I haven't been able to sustain an income that would support living in the highest tax state in the country. I have 193,000 equity in my home and I owe 140,000. Well, I guess she got a new home. Monthly rent started at $1,700 in my town. Currently, I pay $1,340 a month per mortgage repayments, bills, and a total of $3,200 if I keep things tight. I received $2,600 after Medicare. I own a 2010 Honda with 103,000 miles on the clock, and where I live, you can't go without one. I'm 64 years old. I have chronic pain daily and need life extensive pain management. Life, I might add, is not easy. I have low credit card debt of 2,000, and property taxes are frozen at 6,000 a year for my 1,000 square foot property. Any words of wisdom to calm my fears of financial collapse? All right. The first thing you can do is avoid financial collapse and emotional collapse is to make a plan to deal with the day to day, one day at a time. Outlining all your challenges in one letter and viewing them as one big mountain to climb will only lead to more anxiety and feeling of hopelessness. You come a long way. You have a long way to go, but you can do it in 24 hours, one step at a time. If you have more legal problems with your husband, look for free legal aid. Your state bar association or local legal aid offices should give you some advice where you can get face to face advice with a financial counselor. Pay your high interest debts like your 2000 credit card debt, Snowball or Avalanche, and mortgage first. And look at ways to cut your monthly expenses. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling budget, the American Consumer Credit Counseling also helps people in your position. There are 12 step support groups, including Debtors Anonymous, offering a safe space to talk about your background and hear other people's stories. You can also consider taking in a roommate. Mm. And look into a reverse mortgage. I don't know about a reverse mortgage on that one. She already is in a bad shape. Also known as home equity conversion mortgages, reverse mortgages are loans available to homeowners who are 62 and older. Reverse mortgages allow you to tap the equity in your home. They're called reverse mortgages because the lender pays the borrowers, not the other way around. To qualify, you must own your home outright, which she doesn't, or have a mortgage balance that is low enough to be paid off with the proceeds of the reverse mortgage. If this doesn't work for you today, it could be an option in the future. There are popular there are popular for seniors who have equity, and this is how people get their homes taken. These reverse mortgages. I don't like this advice. Um, who may have debts or suffer investment losses in recent years. They have been 28,000 reverse mortgages processed so far this year versus 64,000 in 2022. It was at a peak of 115,000 in 2009. Investigate senior support services in your town, state that provide everything from transportation to medical appointments to Medicaid waivers where seniors can receive home care rather than being admitted to a hospital. Also, there are food delivery services as well. Each factor of your financial life could be rated in order of importance and whether or not it's short or long term. All the pieces together appear unsurmountable, especially from your chronic pain. Enlist the support of your children or friends' advice. You don't have to go through this alone. The best compliment you can give someone is ask them for their advice. All right. That's what I got for y'all today. That's what I got. And then this one was baby boomers. Baby boomers are screwing over the younger generations, and the IRS will pursue 1,600 millionaires who owe back taxes. Right. So, like I said before, we are at the crux right now. We're going into 2024, and it is about time for everyone to maximize their skill set, maximize their Um, there are benefits that you're going after in these other companies. I'm going to talk a little bit more tomorrow about your SEP RAs, your 401ks. I'm going to do a little bit more on that. It's not going to be a repeat. There's actually a video, and I got some research that I've done on that. I'll talk about some charitable remainder trusts. We saw IPOs this week. I'll talk about those. And we're going to talk about um, some stocks. I want to get back to some stocks and some outlooks on stocks and so forth. I don't know what y'all been doing. I don't know if y'all been keeping up, but on Monday I talked about that $10 billion IT contract, and that other was the other one 16 billion. One was 10 billion, one was 16 billion. I don't know if y'all kept up with that, but it's more information about it. All right. We struggle stream today. Shout out to D. Everybody give D a round of applause for holding it down in the back. We're holding it, D. We're holding it down in the back. I'll give you a super chat. I'm gonna super chat you, D. I'm gonna super chat you. Let me super chat you, D. Let me give you a super chat. There you go, D. From me to you. Get you some penguin love. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed. Get your money up. Get your retirement up. Get your HSA up. Put some money away for your long term care, disability. Don't. I did this one so you can see like what your options are as well too, because some of you may not even know that you can get aid. You can get being able to go back and forth to your doctor's appointments and so forth and so on. You're not actually out here alone. There are some conveniences within the government, but you got to know where you're at. My advice is don't be 75 years old living on a farm 5 miles from the nearest hospital and you can't drive, or you can't see, or you don't have enough money to get your cataract surgery. So you got bad eyes, you can't see at night, and you always hitting something. Reel that back on in. All right, y'all be safe.